Hello, and welcome to session number 2 of the Mighty Magnificent Monarch Butterfly. If you remember during our last session, we generally talked about the monarch butterfly, and we talked about how butterflies are symmetrical, and that means that one side is like a mirror image of the other side. But first, I wanted to show you something. I have my gel crayons that we'll be working with today. And they are 3-in-1 in that they can be just like a regular crayon, or they could be like a watercolor, or they could be like a pastel. So just by adding a little water, we can change the texture. So by adding some water, this is becoming a watercolor. And it's smoothing out the texture. So I've already changed the texture of this section, and since I did this blue one, I have to do that blue one, and I did this red one, so I have to do that red one. So you see it as a crayon, and you see it as a watercolor, and then it could also be used like a pastel. So now, where are we today? Well, we realize that the monarch butterfly is not a primary color because it's orange and black, and it's got some white spots, and maybe there's a little brown in there. And so we need to find our orange. And we're going to find our orange by mixing two of our primary colors. So, if we start with some red, if we added some blue, let's see, will we get the orange we need? No. If you look close, it almost looks like we have a black, but it certainly is not orange. So let's try the red. And some yellow. Let's see what we get. And there's our orange. So by mixing yellow and red, we're going to come up with orange. So now let's look at our monarch butterfly. Here's our monarch butterfly. And I see that he has two sections to his wings, but let's just outline him so he stands out a little better. And if we remember from looking at our monarch butterfly, we learned that it has little white dots around its wings, and then we can see that it has some veins. So let's decide where our white dots are going to go. So I'm just going to outline a little space here. So we know where we're going to put our white dots. Now, don't worry about it looking perfect, because everybody's going to probably do this a little differently. So, I'm going to use my white space so that I don't have to use any white paint. It's going to make the inside of my circles the white. So you see, we would go around and we would fill in our white dots. And then we would need some black. Let's hope we don't lose our picture. And we're going to just kind of go around those dots with some black. And I'm using my black marker now. So I've used my gel pens, 3-in-1, and I've used my marker. Now you may have a different way to do this, but we would go around with this black marker and we would go all the way around the wing. And now I think we should let's show some of the veins. I see a section there that looks almost like a diamond. And then we're just going to have some veins. And then what was the main color that we needed for our body? I'm going to go back to my 3-in-1 crayons and fill in some of the orange. And then, of course, if I wanted a smooth texture, I would add some water and smooth it out. So let's just add a little water. And fill in that space. So we would continue, and let's just finish up this little section of his wing. You know, it's better to have a little bit of water and have to add than it is to have too much and try and dry it up. And so maybe there we have our wing for our butterfly. It's just important we see his body. I see his eyes. I see his antenna. And then remember, he sucks in his nectar. And there's the rest of his body. So you would continue until you completed your monarch butterfly with the orange paint that you discovered by mixing what colors? That's right, yellow and red. Well, once we have the monarch butterfly, you know, he is a pollinator, so the monarch butterfly has a job to do. And the job is to help to take the nectar from one plant to another. And it's not just the monarch butterfly. He gets help from a lot of other pollinators as well. You might spend some time and see if you can come up with a list of 5, 10, maybe even 15 other pollinators. I'll give you a few ideas, like a bat could be a pollinator. Once the plants have been pollinated, that's how Georgia O'Keeffe discovered the beauty of the flowers. If the flowers had not been pollinated, then they would not have bloomed and had the beautiful flowers. So now we're going to look at an artist, Georgia O'Keeffe, and one of her specialties was painting close-ups, very close paintings of flowers. And sometimes she would only paint a little section of the flower, but just enough for you to be able to figure out which flower it was. Here's a painting of Georgia O'Keeffe's, and it's called Red Hills with Flowers. And this one is Black Hollyhock. Red Poppy. Calla Lilies. Hibiscus with plumeria. I hope I pronounced that correctly. So once again, those are close-up paintings of flowers by Georgia O'Keeffe. And so, our assignment for lesson number 2 is to walk around your neighborhood and look closely at the flowers. And maybe even take some pictures with your cell phone or with the cell phone from your parent and do your style of a Georgia O'Keeffe flower. Close up, and you don't have to show the entire flower. I'll see you next time for session number 3 with the Mighty Magnificent Monarch Butterfly.